Want me to do it? You got it?
Got
Okay,
it.
perfect. All right. All right. Yep, Andrew's going to be helping me out today. Now, I am allowing you all to unmute yourselves at any time that you would like to unmute yourself and stop me and ask a question. I'm absolutely okay with that. I'm not on a strict script. If you need a question about your instrument, I will be working today on the Legacy, and I also have behind me over here, keeps turning itself off, a fanfare. Okay, so I will be working on those two instruments today, the medium-sized instruments. If you have a question about your organ, please feel free to stop me and say, what is that on my organ? And we'll get you answered. Okay. So the number one question I get is actually down at the bottom of that first sheet that I have. So Andrew, if you want to screen share the Know Your Rhythms sheet, the one with all the words on it, that would be fabulous. Okay. All right, Know Your Rhythms. There is actually at the bottom of that, there is a question right there. How do I know which rhythm style to use for my song? Isn't that probably the hardest question that we all have all the time? Yes. Okay, you can take that down. Thank you so much, Mr. Andrew. We just learned how to do that today. It's exciting. We learned how to screen share. So if you know what kind of rhythm you want, it makes it a lot easier. But how do you know from all of these blue things over here, right here? How do you know which one is going to work for your song? Well, you need to know what all those blue things can do. So I advise you sometime to just listen to 5 or 6 of them. Oop. Everybody knows what a waltz is. So if you've got a 3/4, everybody knows what a waltz is. A waltz is a waltz is a waltz. It's going to count to 3, and that's what a waltz does. So that's pretty cut and dried. 4/4, if you've got a song in 4/4 time, that pretty much is everything else. Absolutely everything else on your instrument is 4/4. Now, I do have 6/8 listed here. We will get to that. But 6/8 has a tendency to also count to 4/4. So we're going to get into that so you can kind of get a feel for, oh, some of these are better for my 6/8 songs than others. Sometimes you get a song that says 8-beat. Oh, my. What's an 8-beat? Yeah, so we're going to talk about that today as well. We're going to talk about which rhythms are the easiest ones to practice on, because that's important too. You might have a Latin song, but Latin is one of the harder 4/4 rhythms to listen to because there's lots and lots of stuff going on. You put on a Latin, and this is bossa nova, and it's okay, but there's so much stuff going on that it's really easy to get off the beat. Really easy to get off the beat. Then sometimes you have some soft and easy songs, and we all love the soft and easy songs, but sometimes you have such a smoothness to it that it's very easy to not stay on the beat, especially if you're starting a practice session. So the very first thing I have is easy beats to hear. Let's let the organ work for you. Okay? So let's make sure that we're using beats that we can hear the beats, and it's going to be easy for us. Those of you who come to my classes, when we all play together, I will put in an easy country background or a basic country background and use this for all of us to play together. I don't care what song it is. This is something everybody can hear. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But what I don't want people to do is have to count. If you have to count, now your music is going to sound very stiff. I want you guys to feel the music. Let this guy do the work, and you're just going to be like you're playing along with the radio. But yes, you have to have something holding you accountable to that beat when you're first learning a song. So if you have a good practice rhythm, Country is good. Basic country is good. Ragtime is a good practice beat. 1, 2, 3, 1, and slow it down so you can catch up to it. Sometimes your foxtrot and big bands are also good because it's an easy beat to hear. Let this guy do the work and you just practice along. Once you've got it and it feels good, then you can go into the rhythms like a Latin or a soft and easy that you really want to use for that song. Are there any questions so far?
Nope.
Nope. Okay, good. Good. So that's what I use for my practice beats. And I also slow it down enough so that we can do something good with it. Now, when you see something that says 8-beat, what's an 8-beat? Sometimes you even see a 2-4. 2-4 and 8-beat can almost be the same thing. What's an 8-beat? We don't have anything in our organ that says 8-beat, do we? Nope.
Have a help session in store. Can't be in store.
All right, somebody.
Somebody needs to.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So an 8-beat is when the 1, 2, 3, 4 is divided evenly into a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they all have to feel even. That's what an 8-beat does. So what kind of backgrounds would be good for an 8-beat? Well, I listed the fast ones, and then I realized I didn't really list any of the slower ones. Soft and easy 4-4, easy 4-4 can also be used as an 8-beat because it divides the beats evenly. Evenly. If I put on a polka, where's the 1 and where's the 3? 1, 2, 3, 4. Or is it 1, 2, 1, 2, 3? It's real hard to tell. If you can count 1, 2, 1, 2, and you can't really tell where that third beat is, then you know that you've got a distinct 8-beat rhythm. And you could play a polka, or you could, Broadway is the same. Broadway is good for do, re, mi. It's actually written in 2/4 time. 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if you can have even beats and not have a distinct 1 or a distinct 3, that's an 8-beat. So then now you have a couple of ideas and you can write them in your music. Disco is also a very nice 8-beat. So if you've got on a disco, which is where? Under Broadway? No, it's under Contempo. There we go. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and which one's the 1 and which one's the 3? It's so even that you could use this as an 8-beat. And the phantom gets played dot 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 very evenly. When you are playing your 8th notes very evenly, that's when you're on an 8-beat. Any questions so far? Basic rock is also, or old-time rock and roll, is also considered an 8-beat because you really don't know where the 1 and the 2 are, the 1 and the 3, and you are dividing everything evenly. Evenly. If I go to a basic rock, or an 8-beat rock is the same thing. On your smaller instruments, sometimes it's called 8-beat rock. And if you listen to the bass player, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and your bass player is actually doing 8 counts. Make sense? Okay, so if you ever see an 8-beat kind of listed as your suggested rhythm, those are some easy ones to go to. Okay, I have one here. that I'm going to put it on soft and easy. And I'm going to put it on easy 4/4. And it's going to have nice, even eighth notes, which means that you could consider it an 8-beat. This is called The Music of the Night. It's also from Phantom, and it even says 8-beat or rock. Well, guess what? This is not a rock and roll song, but it is an 8-beat song. And what they're looking for is just the beats being divided evenly, 1 and 2 and 3, and evenly. One and 2 and 3. Okay. When your eighth notes are even, that's when you have an 8-beat. But you have to know which beats are going to do that for you. Let's skip one of these on our music sheet here. We're going to skip swing for now, and we're going to let's skip swing for now, and we're going to go to the 6/8, because a lot of people will confuse soft and easy and ballad. Okay? Soft and easy and ballad have two different types of beat. If you see something that has 6/8, now if you look at the next sheet that has your rhythms on it, I have 3 6/8. Just slide it down, Andrew. I think we can go to the next sheet on this. Yep. The very first 3 are all 6/8. What does 6/8 mean? 6 beats to a measure, but the 8th note gets 1 count. All right. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. 6/8, if you take that fraction and put it down, it goes to 3/4. The waltz does not cut it for most 6/8 songs. There are instances when mathematically you can make it work, but most of the time, when you see a 6/8 song, you absolutely have to go to something that's going to count to 6/8. All right, have you guys figured out what those first 3 6/8 lines of music are? What's number 1? You figure it out? Are you next to your instrument that you can just play it? No guesses? All right, that 6/8 is actually a 6/8 march, and it's McNamara's band. McNamara's band. Now, the other one that can work on a 6/8 march is 76 trombones is very good for that. So what's the difference here? Well, here's a thundering march. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, that's not a 6/8 march. What a 6/8 march is, and most of you have it, it's called a swing march, and it counts completely differently. It does not divide the 1, 2, 3 evenly, does it? Long, short, long, short, long, short, long, long. Okay, and they've actually written it out, so you've got a long quarter note, a short eighth note, a long quarter note, a short eighth note. Well, how does that count to 6? How does that count to 6? Remember, the eighth note only gets 1 count, so each quarter note gets 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But wait a minute, I've got on a swing march, and if I look at my counting thing, the red, green, 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 if I look at that, what's it doing? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my. Oh my. So wow. That's very confusing. It's counting to 4, but it's telling me it's a 6/8 march. This is a little confusing. This is why you need to understand what your 6/8s are, because it will help you choose rhythms for your songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each set, each measure, you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each quarter note, remember, counts like 2. So the first set of 3, which is the quarter note and the eighth note, is actually 1 beat. The next quarter note and eighth note is beat 2. And the second measure, that quarter note and eighth note, is beat 3. And then the fourth set is beat 4. And it's those insides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, long, short, long, short, long, short, long. Same thing with 76 trombones. That's why you need a swing march. That way you're not fighting with the rhythm. If you were to play McNamara's band on a regular march, you could probably do it, but you're going to struggle a little bit. Oops, because it's divided evenly. You're fighting it, so don't even try. Don't even try. Find the rhythm that works for your song. So that's why you need to know how you can find 6/8s. If you're on a 6/8 march, you use the swing march. If you're on a 6/8 ballad, okay, something slow. Now, what kind of songs are 6/8? Hallelujah. Memory from Cats. I know Carrie played both of those yesterday. But they are ballads. Now, why is a ballad different from soft and easy? They're both kind of slow, right? Because a ballad is going to divide each beat into 3 instead of dividing it into 2. If I go to ballad with no variation or 50s love songs, most of you have it. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You hearing that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each set of 3 equals 1. If you go to Cat Memories, which is ballad variation 1, you're going to get the arpeggios doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so how do you... How big is your dog?
Mute yourself.
How do you count memory from Cats if it's marked 6/8? Well, it's going to be the same thing, and it's on your sheet. Memory from Cats is the third one. It is the third one that's 6/8. And there you see that you have a dotted quarter note. So if each eighth note gets 1 count, then a dotted quarter note gets those 3. Remember, each beat in a 6/8 gets 3 of those inside counts. So when you count this, each half of a measure counts as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense to you? Every 2 measures is actually the 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it confusing mathematically? Yes. I don't want you to sit and work on the math. What I want you to do is understand that those ballads are the ones to use for those 6/8 ballads so that you're not fighting against like a soft and easy rhythm. Always, always let your ear be the be-all and end-all to which rhythm you should use, but you need to know what your rhythms can do for you. 6/8 is one of the harder ones for us to even understand. So just do it by feel. if you know that cat memories is going to give you all those nice arpeggios, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's a good one to use. Ballad triplets is a good one to use. Basic ballad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a good one to use as well. Now, some of you have Smoky Lounge on here. Unfortunately, Smoky Lounge does not do the typical ballad thing. They just needed a place to stick that. That's just a nice Smoky Lounge background, and sometimes your songs need that. Hallelujah is the same type of a beat as McNamara's Band. If you look at number 1 and 2 on your sheet, they're the same. It's a quarter note and an eighth note. But McNamara's Band, which is the top one, that works on the swing march. Hallelujah has exactly the same measure, but it works on that cat memories background, and each half of a measure is counting as one beat. And then you're just singing the song like you're singing it along with the radio. That's a lot easier than fighting a different background, and that's why some of you have some problems. Now, if you've got song setup, do try song setup. It's usually going to be the right one, but some of these don't have song setup. Are there any questions about 6/8 time? No? Did you take some notes as to which one of your backgrounds are going to work for that? I hope so. I hope so. Let's go back now and pick up the swing beat. The swing beat. What's the difference between a swing beat? Where did I lose my sheet? What's the difference between a swing beat and a 4/4 time or an 8-beat time? What's the difference? I'm going to move my table around here, and we're going to go over, oops, I'm dragging my chords. I don't know if I'm going to get any closer than that. Okay. We're going to come over on the fanfare. And now I'm going to play two songs. I'm going to play Shaboom, which is also on there, by the way. Shaboom is one, I don't know which number that is. Shaboom is number 6 on your sheet. Number 6 on your sheet. The Music of the Night was the 4th one that I played, and that was 8-beat time because the 8th notes were even. If I play Shaboom, I'm using rock guitarist, and it's called 50s guitar rock. And you just feel it. Now, if I were to play it exactly as written, I'd be fighting with the background. I'm going to try to play it exactly as written. I'm fighting it. I'm just fighting the rhythm. I'm trying to play the 8th notes evenly. You can't. This is one of those songs where you have to play long, short, long, short, long. You have to play each 8th note. The first one has to be like a dotted 8th note. The second 8th note has to be like a 16th note. It's called swinging the 8th notes. If you went through the Lowry Magic program, you did have some songs where you had to learn about swinging the 8th notes. And then you just feel it. And you're bouncing. You're basically just bouncing on the notes. Okay, hear the difference? You're bouncing on the notes. Long, short, long, short, long. Life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above. So that's what you're doing, is you're just bouncing on the notes. And that's what you're looking for when you have something that swings. Now, what kind of backgrounds do that? You have to find a rhythm that's going to make you feel like you are swinging the notes. Long, short, long, short, long. It can't be even. It can't be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I lost my sheet. How can I do that? There it is. Okay. So what kind of rhythms will swing your eighth notes? Pretty much everything in your swing band, okay? Or a basic shuffle is probably the easiest one to find. A basic shuffle. So if you're looking for a basic shuffle, I can't even remember where this is on here. Pop shuffle. Of course I did not write it down. Basic shuffle. It's under mixed guitarist on your fanfare. And what it does is it gives you that feeling of long, short, long, short, long. Kind of like what the swing march did. Okay? Now actually we heard Sean play today in the concert. He did In the Mood, which is a fabulous example of this. If you try playing In the Mood and try playing it exactly as written, it's going to sound disjointed. Have any of you ever tried playing In the Mood and say, I can't get the feel for this? You have to bounce on them. Long, short, long, short, long, short, long. That's called swinging the eighth notes. So you could actually do that on a shuffle if you wanted to. And what you're doing is letting the rhythm do the work for you so you can feel that rhythm better. Choosing the right rhythm is one of the hardest things to do, but it is the first thing that you really need to do. Okay, I have another song here. And I believe it's number 5 on your list. It looks like that. And you've got eighth notes. And again, the eighth notes all look like it's even. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. There it is, number 5. It's number 5. And that's from the song One, from a chorus line. But this is not even eighth notes. You have to swing the eighth notes. Okay, so if I use A1, I'm using Frank and the Count at 130. Or I could use Traditional Guitarist, which is a jazz club. They both work. And oh yes, I did have the shuffle in here as well. The shuffle works absolutely as well for something where you have to swing the eighth notes. Let's start with Frank and the Count so you can hear what one sounds like. Sure. There it is. You're bouncing. You don't play it like this. You're going to get totally off beat. As a matter of fact, it's impossible to try to keep those eighth notes even if you're on a beat like a swing or your big bands, pretty much all of your big bands, you're going to have to swing the eighth notes. Play the first one longer, the second one shorter, and just bounce on them. Don't fight the rhythm. Don't try to play exactly like it's written. This is easy play. You have to play it the way it feels. So if I put it on jazz guitar, most of you have jazz guitar, also known as jazz club. Because it's really forcing you to bounce on the eighth notes. So if you have something where you've got a swing song or you know that you're going to be bouncing on the notes, choose a rhythm that is going to do the bouncing for you. Now, if you have problems choosing rhythms for songs, what do we do? What do we do? Well, I have a whole separate sheet here, and I want you to take notes. I could have given it to you, but nope, I want you to take notes. How do I know which rhythm style to use for my song? Ultimately, this is the question. First, go to song setup, see if it's there. If it's not there, oh my, call Andrew. No, call Dawn. Email us. We will help you. This is what I do. First of all, listen to it. Go to YouTube. Ask Alexa to play it. And listen to see what kind of a genre it's in. What kind of a song is it? Is it a country song? Then you can kind of know where to start. Is it a Latin song? Is it rock and roll? Is it a 70s love song? Is it a 50s song? If it's a 50s song, you pretty much know you can either use 50s swing band, which is a rock and roll, or you can use the 50s love songs, which is a ballad. Okay? Now, what else are you going to listen to? First you want to know what genre it is. Then you can go to your buttons and start pushing. Now, what am I listening for when I go to YouTube? If I don't know a song, I listen to it a couple of times, and I'm listening for a couple of things. One, how fast is it going? What's the tempo? If you don't know, some of you have tap tempo. Some of you can go to one of your rhythms. Go to something that you know very well, like a basic country or one of your 8-beat rocks, if you're whatever genre you're in, and then find something that's going to make it the right tempo. I usually come off YouTube doing one of these things. And then I'll push one of the rhythms, and hopefully I come with something close. And I try to adjust the tempo until it's close. If I don't think I have it, I go back to the YouTube, come back to the organ until I have the right tempo. Now, yes, when you're practicing, you're going to slow it down. But you're looking for the right rhythm. The tempo is very important. Once you have the right tempo, you can freeze it. You can lock it in. If you don't have a lock, most of the time you can just touch your two tempo buttons at the same time, and your asterisks will come up on the side of each tempo number, and then your tempo stays the same no matter what other button you touch. That allows you now to look for other rhythms that might be a better rhythm once you have your tempo. What else am I listening for when I go to YouTube? I listen for a bass and drum pattern. Those are the guys that keep your beat. Is it a country rhythm that's doing something like 1, bum, 2, 3, 1, 3? I'll just write a little note and say 1 and 3. I know that that's where my main bass player is going. If it's something that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then I know it's going to be an 8-beat, like a basic rock. So that's what I'm listening for. Is it something that does a walking bass? Boom, 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 boom. Then I know it's probably going to be something of a big band. But I'm listening for those things. What type of a beat are you getting? And the beat is always your bass player and your drummer. So you got to listen for those in the song. So I'm going to turn you into a better listener. If you can listen and hear things, then you can find it on your instrument and get to know your instrument better. So now that we know what kind of a tempo and what kind of a bass and drum we're looking for, I always have a couple of what I call my go-to favorites. My go-to favorites. I need to start someplace. Okay, so you know if it's a big band swing, if it's a 30 song and it's got a walking bass, go to your swing band and start there. You got your tempo locked in so you can have a good start. Or if it's another 30 song, the Swing and Sway is very good. Swing and Sway with Sammy Kaye. Or Jazz Club or Jazz Shuffle if you've got some of your standards. Go to your Jazz Club or your Jazz Shuffle for some of your swing standards. Easy 4/4 for slow love songs. Or if you're in the 50s, go to the 50s love songs. That's probably a good catch-all for most of them. Or your Cat Memories, which is an excellent 6/8. And by the way, I forgot to mention one that's very, very good. Wonderful World is a 6/8 rhythm. Wonderful World is a beautiful 6/8 rhythm for your 6/8 ballads. Those of you that have a contempo folk style, that's my go-to for 60s and 70s songs. And you start there. And once you get the rhythm and the tempo, now try playing the song. Now try playing the song. If it's still not quite sounding right, what do? Okay, now you have to start looking for something else. Does it take time? Absolutely. This is the hardest part of finding a rhythm, is just exploring. But it helps to know where to start. So if you know what some of your backgrounds can do, then it makes it a lot easier to start someplace, especially if it's not in song setup. Because this is the number one question as a teacher that I get all the time. What rhythm do I use for this? How did you get there? Well, because I listen. What kind of tempo is it? What kind of bass and drum is it? If you're struggling with that, and believe me, when you first start it, you're going to feel very overwhelmed. But you can do this. The more you do it, the easier it gets, just like anything else. Once you have something that works, now you can get out of the box and make it your own, because what do I always tell you? Don't take my suggestion as the law. Don't take a book's suggestion as the law. But once you've found something that works fairly well with your song, start pushing the buttons and go to any other 4/4 rhythm, if that's what you're on, that you can think of. That's what I mean by getting out of the box. You might hate your recipe, but you might fall in love with something that you never thought would work. Try putting, something that you might do a march on, and try it on disco, see what it does. Don't be afraid of going to gospel for some of your ballads. Don't be afraid of going to gospel for some of your rock and rolls. Your faster gospels are fabulous for rock songs. Or blues songs are excellent on gospel. Don't just think you've got that one little container and you got to keep your song in it. But do have about 5 go-to rhythms. If I've got something like Some Enchanted Evening that I know, oh my gosh, big orchestra, lots of big orchestra. My go-to background on that is Strings 101. You got to find something that works that you can keep as your go-to background for certain songs, and then experiment from there. Am I confusing people, or is this making any sense at all? Andrew says it makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
A lot of thumbs
Yes.
up in the crowd.
See, I've got some people in front of me that I don't have the cameras on. But if it's thumbs up, let's hope you guys are doing thumbs up on this. If
Thumbs
you're
up and
having
happy
any
nods.
questions on this, please feel free to email me at 5028@fletchermusic.com. If you're working on a particular song and you have no clue what rhythm to use, let me know what organ you have, and I am more than happy to find something that is as close to the original as possible, because that's where I always start. What's close to the original? After you find something that works, then you go off the rails and start experimenting. Okay, now that last sheet that I gave you, the one that says tricky rhythm songs. Okay, Andrew, can you screen share that last sheet? Tricky rhythm songs. Okay, there you go. I always have fun with this because if you look at that top one, I already played this one. This is In the Mood, the very top one. Now, that's got 3 notes that are the same that repeat over and over again, but this is 4/4 time. Oh my, oh, this is not 6/8. I don't have 3 and 3 that divide the measures. Nope. I have a B, D, G, B, D, G. And as you can see, they're also grouped in 4s. B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D. Yeah. Yeah. So when you play this, you have to put the emphasis on a different syllable every time you get to that phrase. And that's what makes these tricky and fun. So you have 3 notes, and you have 3 against 4 beats. So that first one's going to be a B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D, G, B, D, G. Okay, see how that goes? In the Mood is tricky because of that. You're not doing B, D, G, B, D, G, B. It's not the same note on the same beat. You've got a different accent on each set of 3. The B, D, G first one, you have the accent on the first note. The second set B, D, G, the accent is on the second note. That's the first part of that group of 4. Then the next one, you have a B, D, G, and the G is on the first beat. So that's what makes these tricky. What's the second one? The second one is kind of the same, and it's handwritten. Why is it handwritten? Some of you who have had me in class know what this is. I played it today. This is the ending for Hotel California. And those of you, yeah. And it's basically the same thing because now I have 3 notes.
Yep, the same.
And they're all putting the emphasis on a different syllable every time it comes around. ECA, but now instead of going up, it's coming down. ECA, 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 ECA. Oh my. But the emphasis is always different. ECA, 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 ECA. Okay, see how that works? So that's a little trickier too. Now that one is an 8-beat because you're playing them evenly. The top one is actually a swinging the 8th notes because you have to bounce on them. Dun, 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 dun. Long, short, long, short, long. When you do the Hotel California one, you keep them even. Da 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 da. You keep them even. And so you need to have the right rhythm for your background in order to play that. Let's go to the next one, the 4th one. What's the 4th one? Oh, kind of the same thing. You have any idea what that is? Anybody guess? Can anybody guess what that is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's putting on the Ritz. Aha. Now, they kind of messed this one up, even though they have pretty much those same, it's the same pattern of notes. ACE, low E, ACE, low E, ACE, low E. So it's the same set of notes, but they're starting with different ones on the first beat and having your 8th notes in different positions to make the rhythm tricky. So those are a little harder to feel out, but that's okay. Now let's go to the last one. The last one, the first time I taught this song, I struggled with this. This one, if you can, now this one's really tricky because you have G, B flat, A, G, C, C. G, B flat, A, G, C, C. And that repeats a couple of different times. But look where every time it plays, you're going to have a different note on the first count or on the beat. So that's what makes this a little different. The name of this one is called Fascinating Rhythm. And boy, I'll tell you what, this is Gershwin. This is George and Ira Gershwin. And this is just an awesome, awesome song. And if you've never heard it before, go to YouTube and watch one of the originals. And there's a couple of guys that do a dance to this, and it's absolutely off the rails, unbelievably good. And I really suggest you look at that just to see what this does. Hopefully I can do this song justice. This is a very hard one, but it's the same concept where you're using a certain set of notes and then putting the downbeat on a different note every time. Let's try it. And I'm using the Gypsy Rag. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Fascinating Rhythm. But it's a set of notes, and then they're just putting the emphasis on a different note every time. Every single one of these examples that I've given you works the same way.
Hey,
It makes it tricky.
what's going on? What's going on?
No, what's going on with you?
Nothing here. I just been running around, and then I come back in and catch this class.
Oh.
That's about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
One ringy dingy. I'm okay with that. It's not a problem. All right. The hardest question I get is, which rhythm do I use for my song? It is a hard question, but if you know your rhythms, the only way to get to know your rhythms is to listen to them. Listen to them. Some of them are cut and dried. We all know what a waltz is. We all know what a country beat is. But when you get weird things like 6/8 time and swing the eighth notes and just weirder stuff, what do you do? Where do you go to? Where do you start? Where do you start? Well, find yourself about 5 rhythms that are going to be what I call your go-to rhythms that you're going to use for starting any song. And then move on from there. Use your ears more than anything. Go to YouTube, let Alexa help you play the song and do several different versions of the song in order to hear different ways of playing it. Because sometimes you listen to Frank Sinatra sing, and sometimes his orchestra is playing so slow that you go, wow, I have no clue what I'm going to use on this. So sometimes you have to go to the next one in order to really get a good feel for how you want to express the song. There's songs that get done by so many different artists, and sometimes they get done jazzy, and sometimes they get done slowly. And so once you find something and make it work for you, then you can move on and push more buttons. But listening to your rhythms is one of the most important homework assignments I can give you. Find out what they do. Sometimes you turn on a rhythm and you feel like singing a song to that rhythm. Perfect. Go find that song and try to play it on that rhythm. That's a wonderful way to start. Any questions? Any questions? Now, I know I didn't even get into any of the features, but Carrie did a fabulous job about features. Once you find your rhythm, then you start with style setup or rhythm preset, and now just bounce your sounds down the line. That's the easy part. Lowry's made it so easy. The hardest part is, which one of these do I use, especially if it's not in my song setup. Always go to song setup first and see if it's there. Usually what's suggested is fabulous. Okay, did you like what we did today? Did you learn one thing? If you learned one thing today, you are 100% successful. If I raised more questions than answers, that's not a bad thing either. I want you to go to your instruments and I want you to get to know what you have. And the only way to do that sometimes when you go to a practice session, you may not want to learn any song. Then don't. Turn on your rhythms and go, okay, I'm going to try traditional full band group 2 and see what it does. And just see what it does. Ah, that sounds like McNamara's band. Okay. And just listen to what's here. Or if you go to a Latin guitarist. Oh, what does that make me feel like? Listen to your rhythms. You need to get to know your rhythms. That's your homework assignment from Dawn the teacher. So thank you so much for being with us today. If you have any questions, feel free to email me 5028@fletchermusic.com. I will answer any questions. I will help you on any song that you need help with. I love finding the right rhythm. I absolutely love doing that. And I will be more than happy to answer all your questions. Or you could go to Andrew. Andrew's been fabulous today. Let's hear it for Andrew.
Yay!
Yay! Master screen sharer.
One more for Dawn.
Dawn,
Thank you, Dawn.
Yes.
real quick, as you always say, start pushing the buttons.
Start pushing the buttons. That's
And
what
thank
you
you.
do.
It was a wonderful, wonderful workshop.
Thank you. Thank you, Peg. Thank you. If you learned one thing, you did good. Now, you have a finale to prepare for. I think you have like 5 minutes and 87 seconds to get there. So go prepare for your finale. It's fabulous. So you have to go do that. I love you guys.
You too.
Thanks, Dawn.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.